Good evening and welcome to the January 25th Goals and Priorities. We're rounding up some of our important department heads tonight. We have 3 of them here. We have Chris Lyons, our Assessor, Barbara Chirdo, our Director of Finance, and Tracey Easterly, our Personnel Director. And let's see, before we start, is there any, well, I think the order is, who would like to go first? I think we had it on
short sticks.
Short sticks? Mm-hmm. I don't know. How about, would Tracey, would you like to go first?
I will.
Great.
Certainly. So thanks for your time this evening. As you have probably in front of you, the kind of written priorities and goals for the HR department. Just go over them briefly. As I say every year, nothing much really changes for us. With difference of projects, but you know the kind of 5 main categories that are listed here are always our top 5 priorities for the year. So I'll start with the HR and payroll updates. Last year's goal was a migration of our payroll system that has been completed. So that with that complete, now the priority would be to make best use of it, to explore its, hopefully to its full functionality, and to also research and explore modules that can be added on that we don't currently have, in the hopes of streamlining and modernizing some of our processes, such as the onboarding. There's a way to electronically send new candidates all of their forms and information so they fill it out ahead of time, you know, kind of just catching up with technology. We'd also like to use the new Paychex Flex platform as more of a central location for employee information and forms and things, so they know that, and try to encourage direction to there as kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of the resources that either they call our office for and we handle one off. We'd like to kind of, you know, have it centralized there. We also have another kind of human resource information system that's actually an access database that the town's used for quite some time. It's not anything we want to let go. We've been holding on to it for a long time, but we do want to kind of audit and clean that up and make sure that everything kind of within it is standardized. So those are pretty much our HR and payroll updates. As far as training goes, as we see more of our vendors coming out from COVID and more agreeable to on-site, we had moved to pretty much a 100% online training for all of our mandatory training. We have received some feedback from some employees that there are some of the trainings that they feel that are better suited for in-person. So we're going to explore that. We're going to explore some of the vendors that we, like our EAP provider, built into that contract, our set number of hours per year for training, and they are now willing to come back on site. I've also reached out, and I'm rather excited about this, and I'm really hoping we can make it happen. I had a very exciting phone call with a gentleman from MCC Corporate College just late this afternoon. We'd been playing phone tag a little bit, but he liked the idea, and we're going to help each other kind of explore to collaborate to come up with a certification program, for lack of better word, you know, that to send, whether it's leadership, but for public sector, because to find public sector training specifically is rather difficult. And yes, there is a lot in common between public and private employers, but every training that comes across our desk is really, you know, you can see that it's geared towards private industries. So I was really excited to talk to him about coming up with a program, possibly then employees from the town of Penfield and Pittsford and Brighton and Chi-Lake, and have it cost effective. So instead of Penfield having to send 10 employees through, maybe we can have 1 or 2, and other municipalities can have 1 or 2, and it's still cost effective for MCC Corporate to hold. So I have a couple tasks that he gave me to kind of reach out to some of my peers, and hopefully we can formulate that, and I'm kind of excited about that one.
I like that.
Also looking at last year or the year before's project was migrating to Office 365, which came with a lot more of Microsoft applications. So some specific, I know we're trying to use Microsoft Teams a little bit more. And, there's only so much that you can self-teach, but, we're looking for some specific to be able to use that. It's a rather robust program, and it would just kind of help with some efficiencies, just, discussions, communications, file shares between employees. So I'd be looking at that for training as well. Next is our employee engagement and communications. Our probably strongest area for not necessarily communication, but engagement is probably through our wellness programs. I'm very happy to report that under the direction of Laura Sliker, this year, Town of Penfield was voted the best wellness fair. So it was great. Laura is also, we'd like to maintain that award and grow our fair. Laura's already working on that event for June, so it's never too early to start. So she's getting her tent permits and things like that already ready. But that was a great acknowledgement of her efforts and the committees, but, kind of more guided and spearheaded by Laura to kind of win that recognition amongst our FLIM-HIT peers.
Can I just interject?
Yeah.
At the supervisors meeting the other day, we were discussing this, and the wellness program here in Penfield came up, and some of the other supervisors, and so this program is a premier, and I think that
So other supervisors know.
Absolutely, and they borrowed with pride.
We had some visitors, that wanted to send some of their employees over to see ours and things like that.
So I like that we can share things. That we're doing good. Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
This year, we've also started, with very actual little cost, employee anniversary acknowledgements with some small token gifts at the benchmark, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And we've also done a small welcome onboarding gift, little mug with,
That's nice,
with Town of Penfield on it. So to kind of, build that, camaraderie, to kind of reach out and acknowledge. Again, we'd hope to, with employee engagement, again, the vendors and benefit providers that are willing to come back on site to do some lunch and learns. And in that, we've also thought of engaging our retiree community a little bit more and better in that. We always invite them to our fair, but we were thinking if it's really no additional cost and once you walk out the door, it doesn't have to be over. And, to bring them kind of back into the fold and to have some involvement in some of our lunch and learns, those that are on our health insurance, especially since we're experience rated, their wellness is beneficial to our bottom, dollar for premium dollars. So, we had the thought of we need to invite them and bring them kind of more into the fold, and whether it's even include them in some wellness challenges and things like that, that might be fun to have a little bit of outreach there.
I like that.
Next is our, policies, handbook, and compliance. Our job is obviously to always stay current and compliant, in an ever-changing landscape of regulations. We want to work on, this year, on maintaining some congruency with our policy and the forms we use. So to make sure that the language is all the same and it doesn't say one thing on this, but we've updated that. So to take a more of a critical look. And I know I've spoken for quite a few years now about a handbook overhaul. It is a huge undertaking. And, as much as I would love to say that we could do it all internally in-house, to do it quickly or to get it done and to have it done well, one of a partnering town, they used a third party that is specifically geared toward policy, handbook, those kinds of things for public sector employers. So we're going to reach out. We're going to send them what we have. They'll have, obviously, the whole nature of what they do is to stay on top of compliance and everything, and to make sure, go through our handbook, make the necessary changes, make suggestions, and then we'll be bringing that to you. And we're also need to look at some of the things that, we haven't entertained that are more and more commonplace, like parental leaves and things like that, that you're seeing more just widespread kind of benefit packages and that are added to employee benefit packages.
So are you thinking that it's not that they're just going to update the handbook to look nice? They're going to
No.
update it to things that we may not have addressed? Or
Yes.
things that we don't need to address any
Yep.
longer?
Things that, you know, like I said, laws and compliance change, you must have this in your handbook, you have to. They're going to have, you know, not that we don't have a grasp of that, but they're going to have the specific languages that need to be in there for certain sections. Or they might tell us you need to tighten that language up, or, you know, especially, I know there's a large section in our handbook now about Family and Medical Leave Act. That's changed quite a bit. And just make sure that we are on top and current.
Aren't there things that we do separate? Like, this is Penfield does it this way,
Yeah.
maybe Parrington doesn't?
And they take that all into consideration, like how much of our vacation leaves, how much we, you know, our own rules and regs, but they incorporate all of that within the scope of what really legally or, you know, like I said, for policy or regulation should be there. So, you know, it'll pass, obviously, all their criteria. And so I'm interested to start working with them on that. Instead of, you know, like I said, trying to kind of find the room. We do updates, but the last piece, recruitment and succession planning. Recruitment still remains a little bit difficult. We have had some success and placed some vital positions, especially up in engineering and planning recently, and we're happy with that. We need to obviously, I think a little outside the box. We've tried one virtual job fair, but to get more into that, revamping our job postings, highlighting why Penfield would be a great place to work. The county recently had removed residency for the competitive exams for 2023, hoping that's going to open up, you know, some more applicants for some of the civil service positions. And then just in-house training to focus on the development of our internal candidates and make sure that they're ready for internal promotions and things like that.
Okay. So at this point, I probably should ask boards if you have any questions.
Oh, shoot, I went way too long.
Well,
Sorry.
I realize when we have three departments in. She's like, well, we only have a little bit more time to go. If she is our IT person.
To keep us secure, cybersecurity, keep the computers running and people working. That's our priority.
There you go. Any other, I know, pretty much we got your synopsis of this. Anybody have any questions? Because I think we want to move on, you guys, to be respectful. We're trying to.
All good stuff.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'm sure Tracey will take them anytime from you. So thank you so much, Tracey. I'm going to go to Mr. Lyons because I think he might be.
Okay.
How about that? We can give us a report on what's going on in the assessor's office.
Okay, with our priorities and goals with the,
How about the, we've really seen your what you've done. How about, Will, you can give us an update about the revale, I guess, and from 2022, how we've done, and then starting in your priorities?
yeah, with the revale in our rearview
Sure.
mirror, you know,
Yep.
we can sort of get back to business as usual in the office.
Great.
You know, our normal taking care of exemptions and special districts and everything else. And as far as the revale went, last year when tax bills came out, we really didn't hear much from anybody at all. So we think we're fairly good on prices at least.
Okay.
But we do the not-for-profit exemptions, senior, ags, all the normal usual suspects, the new one with the volunteer firefighters, ambulances. And we work hand in hand with the building department to update all our inventory on the roll as far as demolitions, new builds, additions, things like that. And any major resources for next year, we have personnel, we're fully staffed now, but our Board of Assessment Review, we are down to 3 members. We want to get that back up to 5, so we do have some resumes, and we'll be working on that. And as a separate point for next meeting, I will have a resolution to raise the pay of the Board of Assessment Review, currently $20 and to $25. I'll send the board some information in the meantime on that of what other towns are at. There's a wide range from volunteer position to $350 a day, so it's
Yeah, we were discussing.
everything in between.
Yep.
And let's see, expense and capital funding, times being what they were, we were trying to get a new car for the last 2 years, but not available, so we'll try again this year,
Okay.
see what happens with that. And specialized support, we're good with that. Tracey takes care of us. And seminars, we do quite a bit online now for seminars. I'll be attending our fall conference. They'll be in Saratoga Springs this year. Then the state covers a good portion of that. And ideally, we'll have Jillian Rumiano in my office attend Cornell, because Tracey, is speaking of succession, and ideally, she could fill my spot in a year or two here. So.
Can you clarify what you mean by attend Cornell, please?
Each year, the New York State Assessors Association has a seminar at Cornell. It's not exactly within Cornell, but they have a acting professor there and it's continuing ed courses that the state runs and the New York State Assessors Association.
So this is continuing education
it's
and not
continu-
for
and-
advanced
and-
degrees or other certifications of the sort?
Yes, it will help her qualify to be listed as a New York State assessor. Because the state has education requirements that
Okay.
for the initial. And let's see, what else is there in here? That was pretty much it. Any questions?
Questions, Mark? Okay.
Yep, and I'll probably have a resolution for next board meeting about the pay for the Board of Assessment Review, and I'll send the board this week the information I have, so.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. Appreciate that report. Last but not least, our finance, the most important, the money person in the town of Penfield, Barbara Chirdo.
So I'll jump into 2023.
Great.
Priorities and goals. We did start looking at new accounting software in 2022. Our logic system we've actually had in place since 2014. So Edmunds, who actually is the ones who own Logix, they were to release a new package, Sabre package, in 22, but it was delayed till 23. So I am hoping that we can transition from Logix to Sabre. It would be relatively painless. It's in the same family, so it would just be more robust. As kind of like Tracey said, I mean, in the world of IT, 2014 is like 100 years ago. So we'd be looking to have Logix be put to bed and then move forward with Sabre. However, the county is also looking to do possibly a county-wide programs. They're looking at a bunch of options for town clerk, for finance, for some police departments. So as part of the Council of Governments, they are thinking to bid out packages for financial software so that all the towns as well as the county could be on the same platform. I'm not sure if it'll come to fruition, but it's certainly something I'm keeping my eye on. I attend those meetings when we have them with the county executive and other town supervisors. So I'll keep you guys abreast of that. If that develops, that would be great, obviously, for everybody to be on the same system. It would be much more cost effective as well. For banking, we will continue to utilize M&T as we have for many years. We have a good relationship with them as our lead bank. We also have a relationship with Key Bank. That is where we do funnel, that's a bad word to use. That is where we deposit our HSA,
Very good.
HSA money for employees. Sorry about that. So that for eligible employees, that's where our HSA is administered. And then we also use New York Class for investing. As you're aware, anytime I am doing any investments, New York Class is similar to a money market where the money is easily accessible, which obviously, as far as town funds, that's always important that you have that liquidity factor, that you don't put them in investments that you can't access. We do short-term CDs with Canandaigua National Bank. I am in contact with them at least once a month, more often, to see how the rates are. So I'll probably, once we get in our tax levy, that's when I kind of do a little investing at the beginning of the year as our revenue stream and expenditure stream as we go through the year. Purchasing and expenditures, as always, I work with our department heads to ensure that we're not only following our own town procedures, but all our state and federal regulations, particularly as we know, as we move forward with our ARPA money, there's federal things to be taken into consideration. Obviously, our department heads are really good, so there's not a lot as far as making sure they're following the rules because they know the rules pretty well by this point in time. Insurance, we will plan to go to the market for 2023-2024 liability policy, which comes up June 1st. We signed a 2-year agreement with our Comp Alliance for workers' comp coverage. And just as an impressive note, I guess, we are paying less for our workers' comp coverage than we did last year's the 2-year deal that we had prior for 21 and 22. We are actually paying less than we paid in 2016 for workers' comp. So that speaks very well to the safety of our employees here, DPW in particular, that we're very fortunate that we have employees that are very conscientious and, keep themselves safe, and we provide the opportunity to keep themselves safe. So, yay. And then risk management, I do facilitate the town safety committee. Different department heads, Tracy's on it. So I will continue to do that. That's a great forum for kind of coming up with safety programs and ideas. That's where Tracy comes through with HR trainings as well. Safety tips go out, as you've all seen, from the safety committee. On the ice, walk like a penguin, and all, so you don't fall. So we have all, we'll continue with those. As far as any resources, personnel will not change in the finance department. As I mentioned, we might be looking towards some software changes, nothing too impactful, I hope. Ongoing training, I'm part of New York State GFOA. I'm actually on the regional council, so I do take part in updating any of their training sessions. So I do that. And probably monthly we have our virtual meetings, so I will continue to be part of that, provided I get voted in again, which I think I will, but we'll see.
You will.
But, and then any finance pertaining software, Microsoft, like the cybersecurity, which we do all the time. Major projects, work with engineering and DPW for the annual updating of the town infrastructure inventory, GASB 34, as well as human resources for our OPEB obligations. That's the post-employment benefits. That's part of our financial statements that you're all well aware of. Grant applications and administration, that's also me.
Yep.
And I got to talk faster.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You're good, but that's really important. You're always looking for opportunities. and
Yes,
I like
yep.
that we just talked about a grant opportunity.
Yes.
Appreciate
So
that.
We're working a little more on that on Friday, actually.
Yes.
2024 budget, coordination with all the town departments. We have our multi-year capital improvement plan as far as major things that should happen in the next 3 to 4 years. And we review that, obviously, throughout the year to reassess priorities, but obviously there's always some major priorities that have been on there for a bit. The Risk Management Committee, several departments will continue to work with that. And I think that's everything that I have
Pretty good.
to
Yeah,
cover.
that's a pretty, so Barbara, before I open the board, I have a question to ask you. On the agenda later, we're going to be discussing the Clark House rehabilitation, which you all know. The town board at our last work session, we had some questions on funding for this project, and I know we had discussed paying for this in cash, and I wondered if you could elaborate a little bit, if you wanted to do this now, elaborate a little bit now where you think how we could go with this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So when we acquired the Shadow Pines property in 2018, the Clark House was also part of that acquisition. It was a separate purchase. We purchased that in cash. At the time, when the Clark House was purchased, we knew that in one way or another, the Clark House was going to be utilized by the town for some function. There was obviously ancillary buildings that came along with the Clark House. That was not part of the assessment. They were kind of like when you buy a house, if there's a shed, it's there. Never really intended to have uses for the outbuildings. The focus was the Clark House, as that was important to the community. That being said, the past few years, we've been, like everyone in the state, we've been very fortunate with our revenue stream as far as sales and mortgage tax. Record levels for revenue exceeding budget. So what we've done is we've earmarked, because we knew we wanted to do something, the board wanted to do something with that building, and as you've been developing those ideas over the past few years, within our fund balance, we've assigned money for things like that. So there is that assignment with our fund balance to use cash to revitalize the Clark House, and however the board sees fit to do so.
Okay, great. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you so much. Thank you on it. Board, I should open up to you before we have a few minutes before we have to stop and start our work session. Any questions? Perfect, thank you. Barbara, thank you.
Did I talk too
Tracy, thank
fast?
you. Chris, you guys
Thank
did.
you for cutting it short.
And you can always reach out to all three of these. They're thank you guys very much,
Can
appreciate
I
it.
just confirm Barbara is staying for the Clark
She
House?
is.
Thank you.
Yes, she will be, yes. So, yes. So at this time, I'm going to close the goals and priorities session for this evening. And in a few minutes, we'll come back and we'll start our work session for January 25th. Thank you.
2 minutes.